Greetings, it's your buddy, your pal, your friend, your teacher, your guide, ABW. So the question comes to me, how do I interact? How do I approach a woman of a different race? And the answer is like you would a woman of any race, of your own race, any other woman. Now, that might seem general or too vague or not a good answer, but you don't make a distinction just based on race. First of all, you don't want to approach any woman of any race, of any stature, any kind, with anything less than the utmost respect and gentlemanlike poise. If you don't know what it means to be a gentleman, I like to watch old movies, classic movies, and there's a gentlemanlike quality to a lot of those, to the way those guys carried themselves in the older movies. You know, the Harry Belafonte and those type of gentlemen. They just had a way they spoke and the way they talked. Um, you don't have to change, as far as like your voice inflection, you don't have to change who you are. Me, I'm from the hood, I'm from the country, and outside of, when I'm very comfortable in my speech, I can be my twang is strong, my slang is strong, my twang and my slang is strong. But when I'm talking if I'm, it's all about comfort and access. You don't want any barrier. You don't want your accent, you don't want your slang to create any barrier between you. Now you want to be true to who you are. You don't want to change who you are. Be true to who you are, but be mindful of how you're presenting yourself. I know when I'm speaking to somebody from the hood, I have a certain way I speak to them. It's just, be mindful of that. Be cognizant of your inflections, and you know who you are. You know how you talk. You don't have to change, but again, make it so there is no barrier of entry as far as your language, your slang. I can't drill it down any more than that without getting to very specific with the individual. What I would suggest, if you're approaching a woman of a different race, know something about their race. Don't just bring race into the equation right off the bat. And obviously, people try to hide or try to skirt around the fact that we don't see race. You see race. You always see race. Don't try to hide that. It does direct your we all have prejudice. Look at the word prejudge. You prejudge somebody based on their race. That's just natural. That's not always a bad thing. It just, you just know how you should, there's, how somebody might react to you, or how you can relate to certain things. You just know that. You just a fact. Everybody has cultural idiosyncrasies, and then when you get to know somebody, it kind of alleviates. It'll alleviate that prejudice, or sometimes it can uphold it. It can confirm it. But you can't ever let that prejudice, that prejudge dictate how you interact with somebody going forward. And you shouldn't let that stop you. You shouldn't let your race stop you. And that's just, a lesson of life. Don't let your prejudice dictate how it's going to affect your interaction. Be courteous, polite, gentle, kind, down to earth, open, amenable, jovial, and engage with them. When the comfort level has been taken up, and the barrier has been broken, that initial barrier that women always have. And if he gets to the subject of about race or something, you can be careful about it. You can address that elephant. And for example, if like if she's Chinese, you can make some type of reference. Be careful about it. Again, you should establish a baseline about who she is, her demeanor off the bat. If she's joking with you, she's engaging with you, she says something about you, like I'm a black man, she says something about, me being black, you can take it there, ancient Chinese secret, just don't be so afraid to address that elephant. Don't be afraid to look a little foolish. That's always the case. Don't be afraid to just be yourself. Don't be afraid to show some personality, and the opportunity, again, I'm not telling you something I don't know. The opportunity will arise through conversation, through interaction, that you know you'll be able to present your culture, and they'll do vice versa. They're going to appreciate what you bring to the table because you're different, and you need to show your appreciation for her and what she brings. You know, maybe she's not used to having a white guy hit on her. You don't have to talk. You don't have to change in. You want to mirror her demeanor, but you don't have to mirror her voice inflections, or you don't have to. A lot of for like I said, a lot of white guys I've talked to, they feel the need to change the way they talk if they approach a black woman. Color lines are being blurred all the time. They've always have been, but it's just more popular now, or it seems that way. And a lot of white guys are interested in black women, and they feel like they have to maybe talk like a hip hop artist, or you know what that means. I don't want to, you know what that means. That's not the case. You want to be if she's interested in you, she's going to be interested in you for your difference, for your distinction, not because you remind her of every other stereotypical black guy. And even me as being a black man, I don't necessarily always talk and present myself like anybody else, regardless of race. But anyway, I don't want to get too deep off on that. Be you. If you're white, you're the whitest white guy. Just be that, and you can still charm her. If you're black, be black. Be proud of who you're black. Just maybe at a different time we can talk about stereotypes and generalities when it comes to different cultures. But this is just a broad overview, broad general baseline principle right now that I'm talking about of how to approach a woman of a different race. Again, I can break down the different stereotypes generally, but yeah, be yourself, and be aware that you are of a different culture. You don't have to beat around that you are a different culture. You don't have to, but you don't have to make that the main subject either. It can be a source of interest. It can be a source of intrigue. It can be a source of conversation. It can be a source of novelty that you're a different race, and use that as a tool. If you're an Asian guy, you know play up on the stereotypes in a joking way, and make a reference to cultural things, when it's appropriate, when it comes up. Don't shun it, because that becomes superficial, that becomes fake, that becomes inauthentic. So what I'm trying to tell you is to open up and be open-minded, but at the same time, but be a student. Be willing to learn. Show that you're willing to learn. You're willing to try new things, to step out of your comfort zones, compromise, to really engage with and be interested in what she has to offer, and what's the difference in culture, and what's the, that person that you're engaging with that lady. Really show a genuine interest in her variety. Show interest in their type of music. Be it, again, you're a Mac. You're a man of aptitude, charm, and knowledge. Knowledge. That means you're a student of life. You're gonna learn different cultures. You're gonna learn different types of music. You're gonna learn different genres of movies that you normally might associate, normally wouldn't watch, or TV shows. Maybe if you're a black guy, you might want to brush up on some Friends episodes. I don't want to get too stereotypical, but just don't make race an issue, but don't make it seem like you can't touch on it either. So I just want to touch on that. I don't want to keep you long. Maybe I'll address this, like I said, I'll address this in a more specific way another time. I'd appreciate if you guys, leave me comments. That's only gonna help boost the visibility of this show for other people that need the help. The Definitive Mack Manual, the book is available. It's a short book. You can read it in a day, maybe in an hour, 30 minutes to an hour. I believe 64 pages, I believe. And it's broke it down to its three mini books. The Alpha Male Myth is the first mini book within the framework of that, the Definitive Mack Manual. Second book is Where the Fish Are Biting. That's what I call it. It's gonna just give you an idea of where's good places and different places. Open up your mind to different places to meet women. It's not always about the bar and the club and things like that. And the last one is the alpha female effect. Attracting the one that attracts 10. Yeah, that's real. It's a real phenomenon. It's always been around, but I just wanted to capture it and identify it and really shed light on the alpha female effect. That's your goal. You attract that one, she's gonna attract 10. If that's where, I don't want to promote playboyism, being a player. I've lived that life. It's fun. Again, yeah. Download the book. This is your friend, your buddy, your teacher, your pal, artist Benjamin Whitmore. God bless you guys. Happy trails. Take care.